Yo, what up, fellas? How y'all doing tonight, man? How's everybody doing, man? I want you guys to understand something. I know you guys know this, okay? I know you guys know this, especially the real retainers. So it's just like me going to be repeating myself. But at the same time, you guys got to understand a lot of people don't understand semen retention, okay? And this is indicative of the community. You know, I do a lot of, reviewing videos. I do a lot of personal reaction videos. Like, you guys would be surprised on how much semen retention content that I consume. And the reason that I do this is because I'm very interested in people's perspective, okay, on what they believe retention is and its roots and its origins and where it was derived from. Because most of the content is redundant. People are out here doing things that get views rather than doing things for positive news for others. Okay. The origins of retention goes back many years, you guys. I want you guys to understand this thing goes back so far. Okay. And the reason they created this, okay, the reason they wanted to do this practice, bro, okay, is because they understood, when they were in their lower energies and they were releasing and wasting their life for energy, they saw negative effects, okay? Just like anything else, we start documenting on what we eat and how it makes us feel, or how we exercise, or certain things that we do. And we see that there's a change, right? When we go and we, try to go a different route. And this is what, if you think about it, this is what the people in the old days, they're no different than us. They're no more special than we are. Okay. And there's nothing new under the sun. Okay. We could have eventually figured this out, and we have. Okay, even if we didn't have the likes of Napoleon Hill and all these other guys who came out with this information, okay, we would have eventually stumbled upon this. Okay, and they said this is the reason why they did it. I want to read something to you real quick. And it basically talks about Taoism. And this started back in China, bro. Okay, and they were saying like over 8,000 years ago. All right. And I know you guys have heard talks and the likes of guys in the community like Sexual Kung Fu and all these guys. You know where they're getting this information from. They've gone to the origins of this practice. And this is why I want you guys to understand that most of these people don't understand semen retention. Okay. And this, again, everybody thinks because I'm the one who comes to the community and I speak logically and I talk about other things, okay, that are not redundant. I talk about other things that require a higher intelligence, which signify to you that I am really, walking this walk. I am really putting in this effort, all right, to understand on how all of these people before us grace this power. And if I were to tell you the honest to God truth, okay, what I have noticed is the longer you go on this journey, the more power you accumulate, okay? And this is what I want you guys to understand. See, these guys are out here that don't understand retention, are basically bogging down our algorithm, okay? They're dumbing down the information. And again, this is what somebody's got to be the leader. Somebody's got to be the big boy. Somebody's got to be up here organizing things and getting people to understand that this is way bigger than some mundane, simple-minded stuff. Okay. This is a huge deal for mankind. Okay. In our evolution towards greatness and repairing the things that we've done. I told you, we are the generational curse breakers. It's a reason why we are here and we have this information. Okay. And the Chinese and the Indian cultures, okay, everybody other than the Americans have this in their culture. Okay. And we are now just grabbing this information and learning. And look how our system, our society is corrupting the information that has the most massive change for mankind. You guys got to get on my level or you're not going to understand me, bro. I'm showing you what's going on. It's devastating here. I told you it's one of the hardest things to do here in the United States is retain your seed in the world, bro. Life is great, bro, when your balls are full of juice. And today I was sitting here thinking, man, I was sitting to myself and I got to realizing something, bro. I got to realizing, bro, how crazy hard it is for real men in this world to retain their seed in the United States. Let me tell you guys something, man. This is the most radical place that we live in, bro. The most radical place, bro. There is nothing else like the United States on the damn globe, bro. To this day. This place, bro, has taken people's innocence at a young age. And you seeing it. Why? Because they're dumbing down this information so people will never get to that level and evolve and ascend, okay, and free themselves. Just like everything out there, we're learning new things every day. We're learning things about, you know, the so-called powers that be that are hiding from us. That's going to give us the ability to be sovereign. We're finding out all of this information, bro. What they do is they are making this information, okay? They are dumbing down this information by creating an algorithm that promotes people who have no clue and don't have any information, that are just repeating the same mundane things to create this huge globe of garbage on the subject. Therefore, the people who truly want to study this, the people who truly want to evolve and learn and move further on in their life will rarely find this type of information on this type of a platform. To this day. This is what I want you guys to understand. Okay. And this is why I want you to understand how important it is when I'm telling you these things. I want you to put on your thinking cap and think on what's going on here. Okay. And this is no offense to anybody. I don't do that, bro. I'm just here for the truth. And again, most of the time the truth hurts, bro. You've heard that. The truth hurts. To this day. Just because if you maybe be one of these people who fell into it, I want you to understand that you have an obligation, bro, to study when you're on retention. You have an obligation to fulfill, okay, your destiny by becoming your best version, okay? That is the obligation that you have when you're on retention. This is not a joke. This is not a game. This is not for silly play. This is for true, balanced power. To this day. Is for everything that you could possibly want in a world, man. You can have it by going on this walk. It requires discipline, okay? But the discipline gets rewarded. And you guys got to understand, it's not about anything other than becoming your best version, okay? Becoming, you know, if you go on it long enough, becoming and reaching enlightenment, bro. And then trying to, you know, aspire to be a Christ being. This is the journey on retention. So I don't get where all of this information that we're seeing in our algorithm talking about woman attraction. I mean, just simple little things that make no sense. People can say anything and put the word semen retention on the side of it, bro. And this is what I'm talking about, okay? Because it shows you that this is the community. This is what's being pushed in the algorithm, okay? And not the real science and not the real literature that we need to know that's going to help us grow. The retention has no roots in doing any of these things that inspire vanity, inspire, you know, selfishness, inspire greed, inspires lust, and everything that we see in our community that gets views, okay, is attached to one of those things. There's no true knowledge. There's no true food on the subject, bro. And this is why I really take my time, bro, to come on here and give you guys true food for thought, because without it, man, you're going to be out here falling into these traps. You're going to be out here getting dumbed down by the information and thinking retention is just for that. No, this is a super important thing in a man's life. And this has been practiced for a very, very long time. The Taoism says this: the preservation of semen would lead a man to inner peace and physical well-being, while the loss of semen would throw his body into a world of chaos and exhaustion. I want you to understand that. And then they say this, they say it refers to sexual energy being stored in measurements called chew. Now, I want you guys to think about this. I don't want you to think about what the word of what they're saying means, chew. I want you to think about on how this builds up, how this being stored in your body as measurements. They have an idea on how much storage that we have of our life force energy, okay? And on depletion on how much we have when we decide to, exit this body from access, releasing ourselves, aka pulling a plug. They're telling you the exact measurements. I'm going to read this to you. So listen to this. A practitioner should regard his body as a country and the generative forces as its population. Unstirred generative forces ensure security for the population. The fullness of the spirit and the vital breath increases the prosperity of the country. If the generative forces is gathered for 100 successive days, which equals 64 chew, there's that number, there's that measurement that they gave us to let us know exactly how much we are losing when we are depleting our life force energy. So I'll read that again. It says, if the generative force is gathered for 100 successive days, 64 chew measurements of vitality are gained and a unit of positive principles is produced. This is like adding fuel to feed a prolonged life. We already know. I've already came on here. I've already explained it many different times, okay, about sperm autogenesis, how important it is. If you do go on retention, it's not going to be your best effort if you go on retention and you're not making it very far. You're not helping yourself. The goal should always be to hit that 70 to 90 day mark, okay, which I told you, which is when your seed, becomes fully mature. This is sperm autogenesis. And what you're seeing here, all right, you're seeing that's our definition of it. But this practice here has been way before our interpretation of that. And what it says is it's letting you know that 64 chew, bro, okay, is equivalent to 100 days of successful retaining your semen. Okay. And what happens is this is like adding fuel to feed a prolonged life with the same determination. If the generative forces is gathered for another 100 days and additional 64 chew measures of vitality are gained, while the positive principle is increased 2 units, the body now becomes very strong. All alignments vanish. So there is the rejuvenation. Here it is again. We see on why people do not understand what they're doing. Okay. Because if they did, it wouldn't be people on here talking about they relapsed at 2 weeks. They relapsed at 3 weeks. They relapsed at 1 month. They relapsed at 2 months. You guys need to understand on what it is that we are doing this for and what the people before us, okay, left behind and are explaining to us on the purpose of this practice. The purpose of this practice, bro, okay, is to become your best version with no distractions. Okay. It's to take and transmute this energy, bro, into a higher purpose. A higher purpose is not chasing women. A higher purpose is not supporting vanity. A higher purpose is still not hanging out in your low vibrational, low frequency energy, bro. This is not what this is about. And people are trying to come into our community, bro, because they know they can say the word and instantly get picked up by the algorithm.
No,
and what they're doing is they're hindering the true knowledge, the true information, okay, the true reason why this practice was ever created. They're further and further burying this under all of the garbage on YouTube. Okay. YouTube does not promote people who are telling you the truth, bro.
To this day,
you can go around any social media. I'm even on TikTok. Every time I try to post something that nobody has ever seen that's so informational, the video instantly gets blocked.
To this day.
How do you have a whole bunch of people subscribe, but no one sees your content? That doesn't make any sense, okay? Because it's showing you that there is a censorship in place. And this is the same thing that we have here in our community with retention. There is deep gems, okay, rooted in this practice that is life-changing. Things that can pull people completely out of a downward spiral in their life, bro, and bring them back to life. They know this. And this is why the algorithm is smart. See, you guys think the algorithm is dumb. No, the algorithm is supposed to be smarter than us. So that means that they're definitely not going to promote channels where people are on here actually telling you something that's going to benefit you.
No cap.
Instead of doing all the mundane stuff like entertaining you, okay? This is the difference, okay? And why people need to understand on what semen retention is really all about. It is not about any of those things, okay? It's about power. It's about transformation, okay? It's about discipline. It's about walking a lonely path. It's about opening a connection with the Most High. There is nothing else, bro, that this practice is for, okay? And I'm just saying, this is what I see. This is how I know people don't understand retention. And you can go, and like I said, I consume so much content, okay? And I share the best information that I can find, okay? I don't, like I said, it's just so much, you know, same old, watered down, same information that we're seeing here on YouTube, okay, about the subject. And you know, and I know from the things that I've been talking about, from the information that I've shown you guys, and you know that this is much deeper than this, okay? And it's way more powerful than that.
I will not fail, even if I must sacrifice my life.